Hello, 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 Status Coup. Back in the hizzy. It is Wednesday, July the 16th, 2025, in the United Corporations of America with our returning champion. It's been a while, Steve Grumbine, Real Progressives. Boy, you've gotten way more gray up there.
Haven't I now?
It's wisdom, I say.
Yeah, it's called a haircut after the dye went out, man. I gave
There
up.
you go.
I
There you
gave
go.
up.
I was thinking of doing just for men for my beard since it's only gray in some parts, but I'm just gonna let it flourish however it wants to. On
Yeah.
more important topics, it's been a while because I have a newborn and I can't go live the times I normally went live. But happy to have Steve back because the country was already a cesspool, but now it's just kind of more in your face. We have a AI apocalypse, which I don't think people fully grasp or understand. They basically are trying to create a caste system in America, even though we kind of already have one. So we're going to get into the new AI developments, which politicians and the media are cheering about. I don't think it's such a good thing at all. And then this is a big statement because there's a lot of scams going on in this country. But the more I look into this ICE Gestapo prison in the swamps of Florida, it sure looks like the biggest scam in American history, on top of the inhumanity of it all. This is a massive boondoggle with contractors, donors getting rich in return for their donations to Republican politicians. So we'll get into that. Steve, first, let me ask you, because it's been a while, what are your thoughts on the current state of things? Trump is, going after his posse, his boys and girls, he tweeted, because they want some transparency on the Epstein files. They just did the largest upward transfer of wealth in American history, massive tax cuts, cut Medicaid, cut food stamps. The Democrats are, I don't know what they're doing.
They're playing their role.
Indeed. Indeed. So I think that's well said. All right, let's start. We're going to get to Alligator Alcatraz. And by the way, we broke a story yesterday. Prisoners there have been relocated, we believe, because of, shocker, the storms that regularly downpour on the Everglades in South Florida this time of year. So we're still digging into that. Ashley's digging into that. We'll get to that in a little bit. But I want to start with the AI apocalypse because for some strange reason, Steve, it seems like the media doesn't really want to cover this. And when they do cover it, they want to pretend that it's all gravy and it's somehow innovation and it's going to make our lives easier, when the oligarchs are literally chomping at the bit with this AI. I don't know if you saw this in your hometown, but Trump, along with I think is that Senator Dave McCormick, planned $70 billion in AI energy announcement for Pennsylvania. This happened yesterday. Trump and Dave McCormick will use a first of its kind innovation summit in Pennsylvania on Tuesday to announce $70 billion in AI energy investment for the state, including thousands of new jobs. Why is it paywalling me? The inaugural Pennsylvania Energy and Innovation Summit at Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh aims to ignite, quote, Pennsylvania's incredible potential to power the AI revolution. Power the AI revolution, they say. They're saying from this, I can't read the whole article, it's going to create a lot of construction jobs, and they're saying thousands of permanent jobs. Seems a little too good to be true. I'm not sure I believe it.
Yeah, I think the AI revolution is largely about replacing workers. I think that much of this also is, going back to the prior statement, I think it's important to understand that, my stance on democracy, my stance on this political bullshit theater that we're dealing with. This is the will of the oligarchy. They literally are going to do this, and your vote will not have any impact whatsoever on what they do. And they're going to sell it as this boondoggle for jobs. You're going to sell this as a wonderful thing. But in reality, once these quote unquote things can do the basic administration that a lot of other jobs do, you're going to start seeing massive layoffs. You already saw the Supreme Court justify Trump's approach to mass layoffs in the federal government. That's going to matriculate through the private sector. You can count on it all the way to the bank. But the really big thing is the Peter Thiels of the world and this AI push. It doesn't have anything to do with making life better for all of us. It has to do with making life more profitable for people above. To hell with the environment, to hell with the people that get stomped over and left behind. And as you watch the economy, you're going to see an uptick. It's going to look weird. You're going to see all this spending, but you're not going to see people doing materially better. And I think that that is a real crime. I think Peter Thiel, of all people, is probably the mastermind of this. And I think that his snug relationship with JD Vance and the Trump administration is going to bear out an awful lot of things that are to all of our detriment.
And let me give you more details, because once you see this murderer's row list of attendees, you'll see this is not exactly a philanthropic endeavor. Looking out for the good, average Joe and Jane. McCormick, the senator of Pennsylvania, says the $70 billion in investment represents the largest commitment in those industries in terms of dollars for the state and jobs created in the history. Yada, yada, yada. Anticipated investments include new data centers. We'll get to that in a little bit, because there goes your water. Because of these new data centers and how much water they need, new power generation and grid infrastructure to meet surging data center demand, along with AI training programs. Blackstone president and COO John Gray will announce $25 billion investment in data center and energy infrastructure development. So Blackstone is involved. But then look at the CEOs in attendance: Exxon, Chevron, BlackRock, Palantir, you said Peter Thiel, Anthropic, Dario Amodei, who just warned that AI was going to basically get rid of entry-level jobs, and we could have unemployment of 10 to 20% in a few years because of AI. Amazon Web Services, Bridgewater. These are not exactly, what does Trump say? They're not sending their best, Steve. They're not sending their best.
They're not sending their best.
And by the way, at the end of the day, these companies, their entire existence of the last 40 years has been how to do more with less. In the 1950s and 60s, there was some, kind of good fashion competition sometimes between CEOs. How many jobs could we create? That was the bragging rights. That left the building. That whole dynamic changed in the 1980s. Greed is good. Let's do social Darwinism on steroids. How many jobs can we cut? How much can we do with how little? This is fast tracking that on steroids. I don't think, Steve, it's just going to be entry-level jobs on the chart. Oh, no. They're focused on entry-level jobs. I don't think we're just talking about entry-level jobs. They're talking about getting rid. I think pretty much anything that could be done by machines. And by the way, these machines, we're already seeing. I mean, I have people sending me like AI searches all the time on Google. It's wrong a lot of the time, the information they do. I mean, that's just with information, but it could be wrong in deadlier ways, like United Healthcare using AI at a 90% error rate. It could be wrong. Even, all the jargon and all the buzzwords. Oh, these LLM, learning machines or whatever, they're getting on equal to more adept than humans. Well, there's a lot of error in them. Some that doesn't hurt anybody and some that could hurt a lot of people. But if you think the capitalist class is pouring all this money into AI because it's going to create more jobs or allow you to shift to a 4-day work week, give you more leisure time with your family, that's another phrase being jumped around. I have a giant golden bridge to sell you. This is not good. Congress probably doesn't care or understand it, just like they didn't understand crypto. The media probably doesn't care because they think their jobs are safe. I mean, the big, rich anchors. But people should care. I mean, to me, this is like the British are coming moment, but there's no Paul Revere.
Yeah, there's no Paul Revere and there's no agency within the space. I mean, when you understand Peter Thiel, and I think it's important to start at at the Peter Thiel level, and you can look at all the other uses of this. But Peter Thiel has got like this apocalyptic desire to bring back end times kind of thinking, this kind of final Armageddon style, good guys, bad guys, the big. If you can think about the Leni Riefenstahl German propaganda of the Nazi regime with all the big chins and the flags and all the other shit that went on during that time, they're looking to bring that shit back. And a guy named Peter Byrne from Project Censored has done an incredible, he's got like a 12-part series on AI, definitely worth checking out. We talked to him a while back over on Macro and Cheese, and this guy breaks it down at a level that you wouldn't believe. So it starts at that top and it just matriculates through. And it is not in any way, shape, or form about enhancing our lives. It is 100% about replacing us, making us irrelevant. And when you talk about not making it easier for us to have a 4-day work week, no, they're going to make it so you have a 0 work week, 0-day work week, because the intention here is to make us as irrelevant as possible. And as you're watching them slash and burn the federal budget, and you're watching them invest in this kind of shit and war and everything else, it doesn't take much to understand they are waging a war against us, the working class, the citizens of this nation, and really around the world. At least we're not getting bombs dropped on us right now, but is it that far off? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think that AI with these drones and the other tools that Musk, and I don't want to be a conspiracy peddler here, but Musk having his fingers in the financial system and looking at all the personal data of every person and then suddenly walking away and now in a quote unquote battle with Trump, it doesn't spell good things for you and I.
Excuse me. Looking at people's data, he and his Doge doofuses took our data. It's not a secret.
Exactly correct.
He took the Social Security data, Mr. Musk. He took a lot of our private data. I mean, if I did it, if foreign actors did it, we'd be in prison.
Ask yourself this.
In solitary. He did it. He's out gallivanting.
Ask yourself this question. The stuff we're talking about is literally, it's not being done by the private sector. It's being done with a merger of the private sector and our government. But you and I, we didn't vote for this. You're not going to tell me, you will not get away with telling me that not you, Jordan, but in general, no one will get away with telling me that we can vote our way out of this. This right here is a 100% oligarch-driven battle against us. And until we see ourselves at war, until we understand that whether it's guns, it doesn't need to be guns to be a war. This type of stuff is literally a war against us. And by the time we get our head out of our ass and people stop celebrating a primary for a New York City mayor that will probably be fought against as an independent by the party as it stands, until we stop focusing on this kind of stuff and we start focusing on the fact that we are in a war that exceeds any state boundary, that exceeds any of our ability to vote away, until we understand that until we do something differently, they are going to take from us, they're going to destroy us. And the people that are investor grade assholes that are part of this, they're going to make out like bandits while we all flounder. And I think it's going to be deadly, quite frankly, in the end. When people start fighting back, there's going to be ways to just eliminate them. And I don't necessarily know that means killing them. It may just be just moving them to another, Alligator Alcatraz of sorts for U.S. citizens. I have no question in my mind that's coming.
Speaking of making out like bandits, the aforementioned Mr. Musk, Pentagon to start using Grok as part of a $200 million contract with Elon Musk's XI. This is very troubling in many ways on the subject of AI. Pentagon has signed on to use Grok, the AI chatbot built by Elon Musk's company, XI, as part of a new $200 million agreement that opens the door for its deployment across the federal government. So we could do a whole show just on this, but a couple things. Number one, Elon Musk, what is his slogan? Break stuff and burn stuff, whatever. So his little Grok thing, there was a whole scandal because Grok became Hitler or was answering people like affirming Hitler. So Grok, not exactly like ready for prime time, but we might be going on the ground. Hint, hint, sign up, statuscoup.com/join, because Elon Musk has already built the largest supercomputer factory in the world, apparently, right in South Memphis. And how did he do it? By a staggering amount of gas turbines around the supercomputer factory that is required for the data center, the electric grid, and it's poisoning the community. Shockingly, lower income, poor Black community. So, More Perfect Union did a piece on that. There's been a here and there reporting on it, but literally, a lot of these data centers are polluting lower income communities, Black and brown, indigenous, and causing. Already, we have water problems in this country. I've been covering Flint for a decade, but as we're going to get into, causing severe straining our diminishing water resources even more, because all of these data centers for this AI explosion require a shit ton of water because it overheats. So you need water to cool it. So for your leisure to go onto ChatGPT or whatever the fuck you're doing it with AI, I'm just talking about the consumer and then the companies. We're literally draining the already diminishing resource of water. As I said in my book, We the Poisoned, which you can go out. It won 3 awards. No big deal. It's not a coincidence in 2020.
Still don't have my signed one.
I got to come to Harrisburg. Let me full screen that. Let me see that book. We got a lot of new subscribers. Go get it, baby. We the Poisoned, exposing the Flint water cover-up. I digress. It's not a coincidence. Wall Street and the hedge funds started trading water as a commodity, like oil, like gold, a couple years ago, because they know there's going to be a shortage. They know there's going to be scarcity, not just of actual water, but clean water. So these people will commoditize your mother, their grandmother, their children. They don't care. They will make money off of anything and everyone. So I want to make that clear. I want to show this clip from Morning Joe. I'm not often showing Morning Joe in a complimentary way, but I do think this kind of raised the stakes. Let's take a look.
And these changes are going to affect every town in America, every employer in America, and then therefore every employee in America. So I put one of the toughest cases to him. I asked him, what about a long-haul trucker? If I'm a long-haul trucker, I'm screwed, right? Because there's going to be autonomous technology that will do my work. What he said is, like, maybe they don't like that job. Maybe they would rather be a short-haul trucker who's home with their family at night, and the AI does the driving in between.
So that was Mike Allen from Axios. He's talking about his conversation with Jensen, whatever his last name is, the CEO of NVIDIA. I think that's a little naive, Mike. Oh, well, maybe it's going to make the long-haul truckers' life easier because we'll just use AI for a few hours of the day. So you could keep your job, you could keep your hours, but AI, you could do it less, and AI will pick up the slack on those hours, those extra hours you get off. No, they're getting rid of you. AI is going to do it entirely. So I don't know if that he's just a buffoon and naive and just reciting, because a lot of these tech entrepreneurs are notoriously, I could change the world and very high on their own fucking supply, but they're optimistic for business purposes. No, they're not going to make the long drive trucker's life easier. They're going to fire him. They're going to just do the whole route through AI. Let me show more.
Your viewers heard Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, one of the biggest AI companies, make Claude, him saying that we need to be pragmatic, clear-eyed about the fact that ultimately there may be more jobs, but in the interim, a real disruption. Him saying that unemployment could go to 20% among entry-level white-collar jobs. Half of entry-level white-collar jobs will go away. And what he's been saying is that policymakers, employers are just closing their eyes to this, sugarcoating it, not facing what's going to happen.
I got news for you, and you and I covered this, Steve. The real unemployment numbers were already hovering near 25%. The media just lies to you about it. From Politico, of all places, voters were right about the economy. The data was wrong, referring to the 2024 election. I don't believe those who went into, because we got a lot of new subscribers. You might have never seen this. I don't believe those who went into this past election taking pride in the unemployment numbers understood that the near record low unemployment figures, the figures were 4.2% in November, counted homeless people doing occasional work as employed. But the implications are powerful. If you filter the statistic to include as unemployed people who can't find anything but part-time work or who make a poverty wage, roughly $25,000, the percentage is actually 23.7%. Let me repeat. The percentage of unemployed when factoring in homeless people, part-time work, gig work, it's almost 25%. When was unemployment 25%? The Great Depression.
Yep.
And that's before AI gets its fucking teeth into all of us. I don't want to be dramatic, Steve, but I really feel like the whole fucking city's on fire and everybody's just hanging out at the beach here.
Look, I've been saying this as long as you've known me. In fact, probably longer than you've known me, but I've been saying this nonstop. It went from a hopeful message of, hey guys, we need to learn how the economy works. We need to learn how the federal government creates currency when it buys these things. But when you understand what's going on right now, the idea here is you need to understand this so you can help radicalize people, because there are a lot of normies out there who are going to sleep on this because they think it's easier to pretend that they can vote their way out of this. Folks, you need to understand that not only can they afford all this AI crap, they can afford to hire every last one of us, so there is no unemployment, but they choose, folks, they choose not to. And so while you're sitting there fighting with your Republican friends and you're fighting with other workers because they've been snowed by this idiocy too, you can't look at your friends and say, well, you never told me this. Well, the problem is you never did tell each other this. You thought it was irrelevant to talk about the economy. And now the economy is going to talk about you whether you want them to or not. That's the problem. This is the way it works. This is like a riptide effect. You go out in the water and all of a sudden it pulls you under. And this is what I'm terrified of, because I've had unfortunate knowledge of this space now through both the great recession that we had with Obama, coming out of the Bush era, coming from Bill Clinton's removal of Glass-Steagall and the mortgage crisis. And I've had it through the last one, which we went through under Trump, right there through COVID. All these things are like right there in your face. And it's not like some ginormous conspiracy. If you just bother enough to take the time to learn it, the government has the money. It doesn't have the money. It creates the money. All these lies of how are we going to pay for it, and they're wiping out all these government workers, and they fought with the Supreme Court to wipe out even more. I have friends at the State Department telling me it's like a bloodbath over there. Folks, they are laying people off like crazy. And guess what happens when you get these well-trained government people unemployed? Now the glut of people that are available to be hired is just outrageous. So everybody's going to be in a dogfight for the few jobs they throw out there. This is cataclysmic, folks. I mean, this is the kind of shit that you need to understand.
I'll just tell you anecdotally, thanks to our viewers, hint, hint, sign up, statuscoup.com/join for as low as $5 a month. That's 16 cents a day. Do you see CNN on the ground covering Alligator Alcatraz like us? Do you see any outlet still covering Flint, East Palestine? Do you see any outlet? We're trying to set up a trip to go to Memphis to cover Elon Musk's supercomputer fucking factory poisoning the community. So support us, statuscoup.com/join. We also just broke a big story yesterday. Shocker. 2 weeks after they created a makeshift tent Gestapo prison camp in the swamps of South Florida, they're already having to relocate prisoners because of flooding and storming. We broke that because you helped us you helped us fund to hire a new reporter. And what I was about to say, Steve, and we'll put the link in if you missed that Substack piece. Again, Ashley broke yesterday for us that prisoners are already being removed and relocated because of the storms that went on in Florida over the weekend. I just posted to hire a producer. You and I have talked off air. I've needed a producer for a very long time. And I mean, I'm getting applications from, no offense, some quite overqualified people, like
Wow.
people who were executive producers, people, I'm not an ageist. I'll hire anyone. I don't care how old you are, but people who were like very high up at like TV news channels back in the 90s. And they're applying to little old Status Coup. So that's going to be the norm in a lot of industries where you have more and more people fighting for the scraps for less and less opportunities. So it's not just going to be, as they're trying to say, the entry level workers. It's going to be pretty much all of us. And I want to zero in on the water part, because water's kind of important. Like, I don't think AI can replace water yet. But I mean, these data centers that the government is subsidizing, most of these data centers, it's not Elon Musk paying for it, out of his pocket, because all of these are literally the welfare queens. Ronald Reagan's welfare queen. It's Musk, it's Bezos, it's all of them. But this was actually a good piece for the New York Times. Their water taps ran dry when Meta built next door. So Meta is building these massive data centers. After Meta broke ground on a $750 million data center on the edge of Newtown County, Georgia, the water taps in Beverly and Jeff Morris's home went dry. The couple's house, which uses well water, is 1,000 feet from Meta's new data center. Months after construction began in 2018, the Morris's dishwasher, ice maker, washing machine, and toilet all stopped working, said Beverly Morris, now 71. Within a year, the water pressure had slowed to a trickle. Soon, nothing came out of the bathroom and kitchen taps. Jeff Morris eventually traced the issues to the buildup of sediment in the water. He said he suspected the cause was Meta's construction, which could have added sediment to the groundwater and affected their well. The couple replaced most of their appliances in 2019 and then again in 2021 and 2024. Residue now gathers at the bottom of their backyard pool. The taps in one of their 2 bathrooms still do not work. Quote, "It feels like we're fighting an unwinnable battle that we didn't sign up for," said Morris, a retired payroll specialist, adding that she and her husband have spent $5,000 on their water problems and cannot afford the $25,000 to replace the well. Quote, "I'm scared to drink our own water." Their experience is one of a growing number of water-related issues around Newtown County, which is 1.5-hour drive east of Atlanta and has a population of 120,000. As tech giants like Meta build data centers in the area, local wells have been damaged, the cost of municipal water has soared, and the county's water commission may face a shortage of the vital resource. Starting to sound familiar, folks? A shortage. This from University of Tulsa. Unfortunately, many data centers rely on water-intensive cooling systems that consume millions of gallons of potable drinking water. A single data center can consume up to 5 million gallons of drinking water per day, enough to supply thousands of households or farms. The increasing use and training of AI models has further exacerbated the water consumption challenge faced by data centers. Machine learning, particularly deep learning models, require significant computational power, which generates a lot of heat. As a result, data centers housing these machine learning servers need even more cooling to maintain optimal performance. So, I mean, you got a fucking mixed bowl of awfulness between potential contamination, which is what happened to that family near Meadows, or shortages, draining wells. I mean, it just basically, it went from fracking doing this shit, mining doing this shit, to now the robots and the machine learning. But it's all the same shit. It's literally draining the people's resources for corporate greed. And it's not like, can AI change the world? Can it cure cancer? Maybe. But if it does cure cancer, here's the problem, Steve. Who's going to be able to pay for the treatment? When everyone's laid off, we're already gutting Medicaid. Our fucked up system, your jobs are tied to your employment. So when people get laid off by AI and we're cutting Medicaid, how are you gonna see a doctor? How are you gonna get your preemptive screenings? How are you gonna get your MRIs? I hate to say it, and to be clear, YouTube, I'm not endorsing violence. However, when you give people no choice, what did JFK say? When you make peaceful resistance impossible, violent revolution is inevitable. I hope there's not more violence, but we know of alleged shooter Luigi Mangione, and there's others like him that are reaching their breaking point.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the GOP, and I mean, again, I don't think of these as real things, but you look at the people that congregate under that banner, and they are absolutely beyond the shadow of a doubt believing that all this woke shit is causing a waste of money, their taxpayer dollars. And so they're going to fight tooth and nail to break every possible thing that's out there that serves as any kind of safety net or any kind of public service, you name it. They're more than happy to gut it because in their minds, they really do believe you're wasting their hard-earned tax dollars. And because the left and the center left and the center right even refuses to understand. And I blame people like Nina Turner and Shama Sawant, who are our allies, for sticking with this taxpayer dollar nonsense. They fuel that bullshit. So all the while, Trump is out there slashing these things, saying, hey, we're saving all this taxpayer money. Where is the tax money going to come from when everybody's laid off? Where is that tax money coming from? You'll begin to realize it had nothing to do with taxes to begin with. Because every time they lay someone off, you're taking away tax dollars, the money that they were spending in, whatever, it's bullshit. And if you don't wake up to that, they're going to fucking put us all out. We don't have a way to vote it out anyway, but we need to organize and make it so that they recognize that we know what the hell they're doing. It's kind of like that Scream show. I know what you did last summer. I know what the fuck you're doing. And we need to find a way to get the people to get what they're doing, because really at the end of the day, they're just screaming at clouds like an old man, because they don't take the time to understand the weapons that they're using against us. And this is the key. They're using the monetary system to make us feel like there's no money, that they got to cut all the spending, the debt. Elon Musk's out there banging the drum, and all his LOL libertarian friends and tech weenies from Silicon Valley are selling it too. And sadly enough, there's all those right-wing libertarians that somehow or another got the gate open to let them into the left because some idiot thought it was worth doing. And now those folks are sitting there talking about cutting spending. And sure enough, it's going to be sweeping us right the fuck out to sea. Idiots all the way. I can't even stress how moronic it is.
Thank you. These are not idiots. These are brilliant people. Welcome new Status Coup member Michael and Tabitha. Woohoo! Join Michael and Tabitha. We are going to do our members only call next week. Double dare promise. I told my wife, we got to figure it out. I know I have a newborn and I want to help, especially at night. You know how that is, Steve. Oh, my kid. He will not stop shitting nonstop. God bless him. My beautiful, nearly 3-month-old River. But I'm just trying to chill. Watch Netflix. He's shitting all over the place. Right on my lap. But we're going to do the members call next week. And I'm talking to Ashley and John about possibly getting back to Alligator Alcatraz as soon as a week from now. These are expensive on-the-ground reporting trips, so we need your support. Sign up for as low as $5 a month. As respectfully as I could say it, you see other independent media on the ground as consistently as we are? Do you see other independent media on the ground at all? Not naming names, Young Turks. Do you see any independent media doing what we do, not just covering things when it's breaking, but staying on stories? Because the true corruption happens when the rest of the media leaves, when the rest of the media gets tired and moves on to the next fucking circus. So we stay on stories, but we need your support. And like I said, I'm currently interviewing for a producer, so we are expanding. The more we grow, I'm not sitting on it. It's not making me wealthy. We are trying to grow and expand so we could do more, cover more on the ground, break more stories like the story we broke yesterday. So please support us if you can. StatusCoup.com/join. $5 a month. That's all I'm asking. 16 cents a day. And while you're at it, go subscribe to Real Progressives on YouTube. Also, Real Progress in Action. Do I have that right?
You got it.
We'll put
Macro
the links.
cheese.
Macro and Cheese. Steve's great channels. We'll promote it also at the end. Real quick on this, I will just say, there's so many different crises happening at once that it's hard to keep up. But I think a problem in America, because of this flood the zone, where Trump is flooding the zone with crazy shit. One minute it's the world's richest man, looting the government because Trump gave him the keys to the treasury. The next minute he's bombing Iran. The next minute he's, sending out the fucking stormtroopers and the Marines to LA. It's hard to keep up. But at some point, hopefully sooner than later, he will be gone. MAGA will not, but he will be gone. The Democrats will still be spineless and corrupt, but they will be gone. This AI stuff, unfortunately, this is going to stay. So if we don't start advocating now and organizing now, and I completely agree with Steve, it's not going to be through electoral politics, because the politicians, it's just, what do they say? Rotating villain. It'll go from big pharma paying them off to big tech and the AI industry. AI is already paying off the politicians. So it's the same route of corruption. The AI companies are now donating big time to the politicians, hence the data centers and all that. But this is not like 5 years from now. This is like now. It's happening now. I mean, if God forbid, if you're a kid graduating college now, I pray for your soul, and I'm not a religious man, because it's going to be tough to get a quality job. And if you're, somebody with a lot of experience that is laid off right now, that's also going to be hard. Anybody, it's going to be hard. We do not want to create a system of just, we're all just fucking fighting tooth and nail just for the bare, the worst of the worst jobs. That's what they want. That is the race to the bottom, and we can't have that. Moving on, Steve, this is the first time we're talking about it. As you know, we were on the ground recently at the Alligator Alcatraz ICE Gestapo prison. Some call it a concentration camp. We've been staying on it. As I said, just yesterday, we broke this story. I mean, it's not exactly shocking that they put this together in 8 days. There's no way it could be up to code, any code in 8 days. Experts we've spoken to said this is an outdoor tent prison, basically, in the Everglades that is the bullseye for hurricanes. Even experts I spoke to said a mild storm with 30 to 50 mile per hour winds, this area cannot withstand that. And they have 750, we believe, prisoners. That's what they are. I don't like the term detainees, prisoners in there. Okay. So beyond the inhumanity of it all, I started saying, obviously there's no purpose for that. If you want to have a debate, we have some MAGA people who watch, some conservative. If you want to talk undocumented immigrants, if you want to talk the border, I'll have that debate with you. I don't think it's as big of a fucking deal as the right gets hysterical about. I think they do it to play into old white guys, racism and bigotry. The immigrants are not taking your jobs. The companies sending your jobs to other countries is why your standard of living is
automating it.
Yes. But with all that said, at the end of the day, there's no purpose for this. And literally, it is, as far as other than like the Flint water crisis, which, as I exposed in my book, was a massive privatization scheme, a massive boondoggle to make people rich. I'm starting to see, this might be one of the biggest scams in modern American history once you look into the fine print. Let me first start. This was just on TikTok, but I think it kind of sets it up. The actual land of where this prison is, I didn't know this. Listen to this.
There's been a lot of talk about Alligator Alcatraz on here, so let me break it all down for y'all, because this is something that is near and dear to my heart, and I want to tell you how you can make a difference. Now, first off, how did they get this land in the first place? Well, guess what? The land that they're building on was valued at $200 million, so naturally, the state said, we'll offer you $20 million, 10% of what it's valued at, and then they said, wait a minute, why would we pay $20 million when we can just sign an executive order and take it for free? Which is exactly what they did. They took $200 million worth of land and took it for free. Now, they're building it on a place where 50 years ago, there was a plan to build the biggest airport in Florida here. And people were outraged. People outcried. Hunters, fishermen, conservationists, people from across the political spectrum all said, you cannot do this. And they listened. It's a miracle, but they listened. Richard Nixon canceled it. He said this is a great win for environmentalism, a great win for the environment, for conservationists. And now that is going down the drain, too. And I know they say, well, they're building it on this runway. 96% of where they're going to build is wetlands where animals live. Now, the Everglades is the heart and soul of the state. It is the only place on Earth that is like this. There's literally not a single place on Earth like
God, I want to be as happy-go-lucky as that man. So to be clear, this is expensive, valuable land, 200 million. And Governor DeSantis, who clearly is trying to, I don't know, out Trump, get back in the good graces of MAGA for his 2028 makeover. He wants to run again. He's going to need a personality transplant first. He invoked emergency powers, citing an immigration invasion, even though Florida is not a border state and doesn't have an immigration crisis, to seize the land. So they seized the land through executive authority. What happened to small government? Republicans. They like big government when they're being authoritarians. So they seized the land worth $200 million for free. So this is Miami-Dade County. They seized this. It's a pilot training. It's like a training center for pilots, and they repurposed it in 8 days to be a prison camp for undocumented immigrants. Typically, Steve, I know this from pipelines, from other projects, when you are creating infrastructure, even a prison like this, or you are repurposing a structure that is purpose is for X to repurpose it for Y, you need to do a statement, some type of public statement. You need to put in a statement of purpose. You need to make it open for public comment, which is usually a scam anyway. The public 9 times out of 10 is wildly against it, and the politicians just disregard it. But at least put out the appearance that the public will have a say. They didn't do any of that for this. This was just put together like, a one-night stand politically, basically. And it shows. The toilets aren't flushing. The air conditioning is going in and out. You have people aren't getting showers for days and days. They're getting food with maggots. The lights are on. The lights are on in the facility 24/7. Which is a form of psychological torture. It's not easy to sleep with lights on. There's reports of prisoners being deprived medicine. We don't even know if they have full medical unit there. As we showed yesterday, Congressman Maxwell Frost, who visited, said he was hearing people scream, "Help me, help me." And they wouldn't let the politicians who came, in this case, Democrats, go near the medical tent. And it's 85 degrees inside, and the outside temperature, and outside basically is inside because it's
tent,
not fully covered. Part of its trailers, part of its tents. I mean, the feels like temperature is over 100 degrees right now in this area in Florida. And you ask, okay, well, that sounds reckless. Well, it's not just reckless, it's greedy. The more you look into it, I mean, contractors that donated to DeSantis, the Florida Republican, the Florida Attorney General, other politicians, they are getting these no bid contracts in a matter of days. Not small. We're talking a $78 million contract. $78 million contract. Let me show you this. For a tent prison that's already flooding, and they need to relocate prisoners. This is from State Representative Anna Escamani. I've interviewed her when I was in Florida on a different story. Not, pretty decent for a Democrat. If you're wondering how much public money the state is spending to staff this immigrant detention center in the middle of the Everglades, look no further as we have the contract for CRS, Critical Response Strategy. They are the ones managing the facility. How much? Oh, just a cool $78 million.
Wow.
$78 million for a completely unnecessary Gestapo prison camp. They're getting paid $78 million. Look at camp manager is one of the roles. Assistant camp manager. Compliance manager. Compliance with what? There's no way this is complying with anything. I mean, half of these roles, they're just made up. And by the way, Congressman Frost pointed out, most of the people there are private contractors. So this is essentially a private prison, which, by the way, Democrats love private prisons too, when it's, I guess, for legal citizens. So let's not give the Democrats a pass. They're pretty fine with private prisons. But this is a massive, massive boondoggle. Massive, massive boondoggle. And interestingly enough, Steve, interestingly enough, that seemed to disappear. This massive contract just seemed to disappear after a day after that state rep posted it. It seems that the DeSantis administration just pulled more than a dozen contracts tied to the Everglades Immigration Detention Facility from a public database of state contracts. These contracts total more than $200 million in taxpayer spending. And in this case, this is your money. If you're a Florida citizen,
Yes.
states cannot print money like the federal government.
That's
So
right.
you're paying for this fucking Gestapo prison torture camp. For example, she said, I got this contract from the database yesterday, the one I just showed you, the CRS, for $78 million, and now it's just magically not there. What do you know? No documents have been added. So one day you see it, one day it's gone. That's how that works. More. By the way, it's required by law to have Florida law, like most states, you're supposed to have up the contracts for public works. And it's down. She said, however, I have no doubt that after exposing the excessive and out of control spending by the state of Florida towards private no-bid contracts, the state will now try to pull back on transparency and will drag their feet on uploading contracts. She puts the related statute. If the state has nothing to hide and is proud of this excessive spending, then we should all expect all contracts to be shared online. It's not only that I didn't have time, but I could assure you that CRS, likely through its PAC, donated a nice sizable chunk of change to Ron DeSantis and other Republicans in the state. They're also building a completely unnecessary new road, because there's only one road that comes in and out of this prison, for $11 million to build a new road in the middle of the Everglades for this detention center, currently caging hundreds of immigrants, hundreds of which, by the way, Steve, no criminal charges. Some of these people have traffic violations that they've been put in a fucking torture camp.
It's
Boondoggle.
big fucking business.
And by the
Big
way,
fucking business.
I just want to point out, adding on to, this is foreseeable, adding on to the big business here, as we broke yesterday, you know how much it costs to transport prisoners? They're going to have to relocate people. They're going to have to evacuate in the event of a serious storm. I don't know if they will, because they don't care about these people. If they die, how do we even know if they die? You think they're going to do a full accounting of deaths there? I'll play the clip in a minute. We had a climate scientist warn us, people are going to die there because this cannot withstand a tropical storm, much less a hurricane. But them having to relocate prisoners, which we broke yesterday, they're already doing because of flooding. That is big business. Transportation of prisoners costs money. So you're paying more to the contractors to transport them from one facility to another facility. This is all basically greasing the skids of contractors who initially buy off the politicians, and the politicians are basically creating torture camps for profit now in America. Yeah. And this is from Ashley's interview this morning. There's most of these prisoners are not showing up on record locators, so their family can't see that they're in this place. And the lawyers that you're supposed to get due process in a democracy, the lawyers can't even get in contact with them. This is from Ashley's interview with one of the immigration attorneys who was turned away from Alligator Alcatraz after she made a long drive and then given an email to set up an appointment to see her client. Shockingly, the email bounced back. That's what happens when you set up torture camps in 8 days.
They're pushing quotas. That's what it is. And, anybody that's in the way now is going to be picked up and had their, case processed as fast as they can to meet those numbers. And actually, that's even which kind of side notes, is another situation that's going on with the bond cases, because the bond cases for detainees kind of ties into this, because you're thinking, okay, if somebody's going in the facility, at least maybe within a week or two, whatever, they'll get out and they'll fight their case in immigration. But what this next step of this is that there's memo that came out that I haven't read yet, but the news outlets have been posting it, and it's been referred to in court now, which is that anybody who's entered the United States without inspection is now not eligible for bond. I mean, this is going to.
The full interview is up. We posted it this morning. So basically, family members or lawyers, you don't know if your loved one is in there. If you happen to find out they're in there, you can't speak with them. We don't know what's happening with these people. And by the way, if they're relocated, you might not know they're relocated or to where. I mean, I don't know what you call this other than fascism. I don't know what you call this other than torture camp, an internment camp. It's been compared to the Japanese internment camps. But this is very profitable stuff, but very scary stuff. And I will say, Steve, if people think this is going to stop at undocumented immigrants, I don't want to be dramatic, but Trump has openly said about, well, maybe we'll denaturalize American citizens. Maybe we'll get rid of American citizens. The point of authoritarianism, the point of, the Napoleon complex, want to be strongman or strongman, see how far you could move the line. See how much you can normalize things that are not normal with a media that usually, kind of allows you to normalize those things. I mean, if any former president said we might try to deport American citizens, that would be a scandal. There might be impeachment hearings. Trump says it, move on to the next thing. He wants to see how far he could go. And also, he's not joking about wanting to stay in office. He already tried to stay in office. You think he's joking about serving a third term? So we're going to continue digging on this, but I got news for you. I think they're not going to be able to relocate everyone, and the storms are going to get a lot worse there. I think you're going to have a serious, serious disaster there, including a lot of people dying.
Yeah, let me just say this because it is eating me alive. There was a comment, and it's a really good comment, talking about how, we know this stuff. We need to organize something. I think about Harriet Tubman, and I think about the Underground Railroad, and I think about things that people used to do to save people from bad situations. I mean, slavery couldn't get much worse, right? We are entering into a period of time that I don't know that we understand. I mean, you can read all the books, you can hear everybody talk. But what you do know, if you understand capital, if you've done any studying on capital, is you understand the way capital operates. And right now, they are literally eliminating all elements of the public sector, all elements of the public purpose, all elements that support and, help citizens. And there's this literal Ayn Rand dog eat dog kind of makers and takers thing going on right now. It's very important to understand that you are not, I can't say this enough, you're not voting your way out of this. I've said it for years. You can check the tape. And I am to the point now where I'm like, what is it going to take for us to be able to get people to really, truly understand that it is seriously life or death right now? Those folks in the Alligator Alcatraz, it's life or death for them. Many of them may have been your friends before. You know what I mean? Like, just think about it. This is not like some guy that crawled under the fence and, illegally. These are people that have been side by side with you, maybe went to school with you, maybe were neighbors of yours. And it will not stop there. It is really, really time to start thinking about real, honest to God, what it means to have power outside of this electoral process. People thought I was crazy when I said these things, but I'm telling you right now, you're watching it, and every day it becomes more and more and more important to understand, but it also becomes later and later and later, which means time is slipping by. These things are entrenching themselves, and without real, honest to God, meaningful, when I say resistance, I'm not talking about the shit lib resistance Democrat bullshit. I'm not talking about your pink pussy hats, and I'm definitely not talking about the no kings bullshit. What happened with no kings? Anything? No, nothing. People got a bunch of good selfies, right? It is literally, you can't fix this. Tell me how you're going to vote this away. Tell me what you're doing at the ballot box to fix this. Nothing. And us talking about it, hopefully it gets people to think about it more, to position it right up here, but you've got to take that from knowledge to action. And I agree with the person that was saying, I just want to make that comment because I thought that was a very important comment.
On that wise note, I have to go take care of my newborn. I had a hard out at 5 o'clock. Stevie, tell the masses where they could find your important work.
Yeah, we're on Substack for Real Progressives. We are at realprogressives.org. That's our website. We on Tuesday nights have Macro and Chill, which is a weekly webinar at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, where you can come and talk. It's not just a live stream. You're actually part of the process. You can talk. You can ask questions. We listen to the recent podcast and we discuss what can we do with this information? What can we do about it? Right. And I think this is really important. We want to be a do something organization, not a do nothing organization. And also you can check out our YouTube channels, Real Progressives and Real Progress in Action, like Jordan said. But my weekly podcast, if you go on Spotify, you go on any other place, you can go to our Substack and get it as well. You can go to our Patreon and get it. But it is Macro and Cheese. It is a very important podcast. It's far more than economics, although economics are a large part of what we discuss. Please follow us. I appreciate the Vine, Jordan. We got to do this more often.
Absolutely. Yes. We love Steve. It's just been tough for me because I have at 5 o'clock, I got to, we got 2 kids now. So my wife can't do it all. So I need to help her with glad to help with my tyrannical toddler, the terrible twos, while my wife is tending to our 3-month-old boy who loves to shit in my lap. I will also say, folks, remember, Status Coup is growing. We are at 476,000 subscribers. Do you know we just passed 200,000 less than a year ago? In August of 2024, we hit 200,000. We're almost at 500,000. I ain't good at math. That's 300,000 new subscribers. So if you're new here, thank you. Something's working finally. The YouTube gods have taken the shackles off for a hot minute, but we got to go further. Growing subscribers is great, but we got to grow our paid membership because I cannot print money out of my asshole like the federal government, and I don't take money from United Healthcare, Elon Musk, the remaining Koch brother, the Walton family, or any of the other corporate fucks. Our funding comes from you, the proletariat. So please support us. StatusCoup.com/join. We're up almost 200 paid members, just this month, and it's only half the month. But we need more. Again, this is not so I could go out to a lavish dinner or buy a McMansion. This is so we can get back on the ground, stay on the ground. We sent Ashley and John there for 5 days. We want to grow our funding. Maybe we could stay a little longer. But on-the-ground reporting just for a few days, a reporter, a cameraman between flights, hotels, rent-a-car, food, equipment. We keep needing new equipment, unfortunately. It costs thousands of dollars just for a few days, frugally, when you're trying to get the cheapest flight. You're not staying at the Ritz. You're staying at a Marriott or a Hyatt or, sometimes motels, depending where we are. So please support us. Again, I just started interviewing for a producer. So once we hire a producer, that's going to be able not only get out more great content, but make it look a lot better. Cut up our content that's longer and make it into more short form videos for all this new ADHD generation. God bless you all that only consume stuff a minute to 2 minutes or 30 seconds. So we're growing, but I need your help. StatusCoup.com/join. And please support Steve. All the links to what he mentioned are in the description. Go check out Ashley's interview from this morning with the immigration attorney. We still have other interviews and reports from her time at Alligator Alcatraz we're going to be releasing over the next few days. And I am working on a few of my own reports. Thank you, Steve. Till next time.
Yeah. Take care.